Hi, everyone. Good evening. Okay, we're just waiting for a couple of minutes. Okay. Hi, everyone. Yes, good evening. Good evening, everyone. Okay, just to bring up this point to you, hope everybody is excited and learning Python with fun. Python is very simple programming language. If you break it down into different modules and try to pick up those individual modules, right? So try to have a structured approach and to help you all in identifying these different modules of Python. We have mind map on the website. So you can log into 360digitmg.com, right? Everybody, please do that. If you're not familiar, then you might want to do this. Just log into 360digitmg website, click on mind map. And here we have Python programming fundamentals. If you click on that, you will get this mind map. It talks about all those primary requirements or primary things that you need to know about Python. And it has a very structured arrangement also. Right from the history, it talks about various features of Python programming. Like you have already understood that it is English-like programming language, right? It's called as high-level programming language. It can also be used for object-oriented programming, but to start with, to learn Python, we focus on functional-oriented programming language because this allows us to reuse the code. And in the current trend where the demand with respect to the performance speed is utmost important in the industry, you don't want to reinvent everything from scratch. So why not we use pre-written functions, right? And Python, which is a new age programming language, will allow you to use those pre-written functions in terms of packages, which you will eventually learn or you already have learned as part of data analytics, right? So that is one of the features that you will love and cherish with Python programming. And this is one of the reasons why it allows adaptability of the programming itself in different industries. So on and so forth. There are various other options here. You can see the features are given. Now, if I move further, then you already have learned about variables. There are certain standards that you have to follow in any language, including Python programming, or you talk about English language. There will be certain standards, right? So to start with, variables is something that you need to understand. You have understood these basic requirements. Post that, you have also learned about operators. What kind of operators can you implement or use in Python? There are various other things that you will actually be able to experiment. You have learned about arithmetic operators, relational operators, or they're also, right, comparison operators. They're also known as comparative operators. We have assignment operators. These are all different assignment operators. We also have logical operators. Then we have identity, membership, and additionally, we also have bitwise operators, which are nothing but and or operators. So these are some of the features which are there in Python, and you have learned about these operators as well. You people have started with data types, integers, float, complex, and also you have strings, right? And you are going to start learning about sequential programming, sequential data types today. Okay. Just an introduction. I just wanted you all to be familiar with this mind map. So let me just quickly walk you guys how to navigate to this particular location. Post that, we will hand over to Mr. Barney, who is going to walk you guys through with the next set of codes. So just take a browser, launch 360digitmg.com. Sorry. 360digitmg.com, and then click on mind map. This will navigate you to this page where you can select Python programming fundamentals from the drop-down list. If you click on this, you will have the mind map given here, and you can use this mind map for quick reference. All right. Now, before I hand over to Mr. Barney, I want to announce the quiz winners from yesterday's competition, yesterday's quiz. So the winners for quiz 2 is Akila Badam, the first winner, Vaidehi Kalekar, and then the third winner is Farheen Sania. Congratulations, all the 3 winners, and good luck for your future. Keep competing, keep learning with fun. All right. Thank you all. Just wanted you all to learn hard, and good luck for your futures.
Yep. So let me share the screen. And let's take this discussion forward. So friends, be extremely active on your LinkedIn profiles. That is very much needed for you to get a job. Okay, so tame your Python day 4. I would call it as part 4 rather. So let's get started with that. And today we are going to talk about lists. As Sharada has rightly pointed out, when you go to 360 DigitMG website, you will find a menu option called Mind Map. The moment you do a drop down and select Python programming fundamentals, you'd find a mind map, and you can explore this mind map, read it for quick access. Here you have variables in Python, okay, data types in Python. You have sequential data types, okay, and here is where we have list and tuple, and we are going to talk about these two today. So let's get started. Today we are going to talk about this list, and when you have when you create a list, you use square brackets, and within that you can give your strings or numerical values, and strings should be in single quotes or double quotes or triple quotes, not more than 3 quotes. Okay, and what we are doing here is we are creating 4 list items. Right, we are creating 4 list items, and we are assigning all these list items to a variable called list1. And then when you say print list1, it would print all these values which are part of this variable. When you say length of list1, there are 4 elements in this list. So the answer will be 4. And that is what would be printed on the screen. All right, so let me run this and show you the answer. It's running. So for the first time, what happens is it will connect to your Google Colab and it will connect to a server. That would take some time. Okay, it is allocating RAM and some memory. So unable to connect, that's strange. Let's see what's happening with this. Yep. So it's initializing, connected. All right. Now I'll click on this. And we have the answer. So we have 4 elements. Those are listed out when you say print this. And when you say print length of this list1, it shows that the result is 4. Now when you say go to list 1 and go to index number 0. In string, what did we learn? We learned that each of these alphabets or each of these characters would be given one index number like 0, 1, 2, 3 in that way. But here, complete element would be given an index number 0. This would be given an index number 1, index number 2, and index number 3. So on and so forth. Okay, and then if you say print list1 of 0, then the first element nickel will be printed. If you go to list 1 and say 3, what do you think will be printed, friends? What do you think would be printed? Yep. So if this is 0, if this is 1, this will be 2, and this will be 3. So 2018 would be printed. When we say print list1 colon 4, what would happen here? What do you think would be printed? What happens in Python programming is that when you say colon 4, it would take all the values from 0 because you didn't mention anything here at the start. So it will start from the beginning. 1, 2, 3. This last number won't be there. This last number would be ignored. So 0, 1, 2, 3. That means, in short, all of these elements of the list would be printed onto the screen. So let me run this and let's see what will be the answer. Yeah, there we go. So list of 0, list 1 of 0 has printed the first element. Print list 1 of 3, 0, 1, 2, 3, printed this. And when you say print list 1 colon 4, 0, 1, 2, 3, all those index values or values associated with those index numbers would be printed. All right. Now, if you say colon -1, as the comment line explains you, the elements in list 1 would be printed in reverse order. So you have this. In list 1, you have all these elements. Those would be printed in reverse order. So if I were to run it, yep, 2018 would be the first element, 2013 the second, then 360 digit MG, then next. Okay. Then we are going to talk about something called as append. Adding new element to the existing list is what append will do. So you have 1, 2, 3 numeric element. Then you have string, which is represented in single quotes here. So that's a string. This is the list that you have created, and you're naming that as a list. You can give any name here, any name of your choice. And then when you say a list dot append, and when you give a new element, this new number or new element would get added to the list here. It would get added like that. Append, meaning to the existing elements, you're adding a new list. Okay, then you can print the results. Yeah, so Muzamil doesn't matter, my dear friend. You copy this and paste on Spider and run it, it would give you the same results. Okay, either, I mean, it should not matter, right? Whether I'm using Windows laptop or Macintosh. At the end of the day, you should be able to see the results and understand how these are written. Okay. So print a list would print all these values and 2009. If you want to remove only 2009, you just say dot remove of 2009 and it will remove. And then you can print a list and see what is there in that. Should I zoom it further? Hope this is fine now. So if I were to run this, you have all the values. As I've told you, if you have multiple lines of code wherein you're calling the variable names, then wherever you have print, those statements would get executed. And the last line of code, irrespective of whether you have the print or not. So after removing this 2009, you're again printing the results. Next. You have something called as pop. When you say print a list dot pop, let's see what it does. Okay. So it will remove the last element from your existing list. And now if you look at the new list of items, it doesn't have ABC. If you see the last collection of elements in this object called a list were these 4 elements. When you say dot pop, it would remove the last entry, which is ABC. And that is what is given here. Okay, dot pop would actually remove this. And when you print, and if you want to check what are the remaining elements which are available, you get 1, 2, 3, X, Y, Z, and these 3. 1, 2, and 3. Okay. So you understood pop, you understood append, you understood remove. These are the various operations that you can perform on lists. When you say a list dot pop of 0, what do you think will happen, friends? Now this list contains these elements. Now if I say print a list dot pop of 0, what do you think will be the output of this? Anyone? Let me see how many of y'all are actually grasping the concepts, and you're free to respond on our YouTube comments section or the chat section. Absolutely, guys. Wonderful. And after that, when I print this, what will happen? The remaining elements will come up. So let me run. So when you say a list pop of 0, you know for a fact that this holds index number 0, this holds index number 1, and this holds index number 2. Okay, and you have this 1, 2, 3, which is the first element. It gets popped, I mean, it's getting selected. And then when you say list, these two would come up. All right. Next, these are all operations that you can perform on list of elements. The next thing is you're creating a new list with all these items, elements, 1, 2, 3, X, Y, Z, Tommy, A, B, C, and this. Okay, and when you say dot insert 3, 2009, these two would be added to the existing list. Now, even before I run that, let me quickly, list down all the operations that we have learned as part of list. One is length of list. This is one. Next, we have append, remove. Then list dot append is something that we've learned. List dot remove. List dot remove is another thing. Okay, so dot pop is another thing. So list dot pop. These are all the functions that you can run on top of your list. Now we have insert. All of these you would find in the mind map also. You just go here. If you look at the list, index, various operations, append, pop, remove, insert, sort, reverse, count. All these are the operations that you can perform. So this mind map will come in extremely handy. Just bookmark it, and yeah, it will make your life easier when you attend interviews. Now, you're going to create a list and you're going to insert these two elements, and then you'll print the new list and see what elements are there. There we go. So what this does is, sorry, my bad. I need to take back the statement that I made. So it inserts a value using index number. So what it has done is, it has gone to index number 3. This is index number 0, 1, 2, and 3. It has gone to index number 3, and at this position, it is adding, I would say after Tommy, the third index position, it's adding 2009. Followed by this becomes then index number 4, and this becomes index number 5. So 0, 1, 2, and 3. So in the third position, you have 2009. Okay. Append will add an element to the list, an additional element. Insert would actually help you put a value somewhere in between also. Okay, next. Let me explain these also. You're creating two lists. List of elements, storing in this. You're creating another variable, list of 2 elements, and storing in this. When you say print a list into 2, it's going to repeat these list of items twice. When you say print a list plus B list, it will take all these elements and add these 2 elements also, comma 2009, comma many. We'll add in that way. A list dot extend B list. So you're saying take this A list, all these, take all these elements and extend it by B list. So annex. Or take the B list, these 2, and extend it with A list with all these elements. So again, after these 2, all these elements will appear. And then you're saying, okay, let me see what elements are now there in A list and what elements are there in B list. Let me run it and explain once again. So, yeah. So here, you are saying a list, and then when you multiply this with 2, all these elements will get repeated twice. So you see, all these elements are getting repeated twice. Then you're saying print A list plus B list. So take all the elements in the A list and add these 2 B list elements. Then take A list elements and extend it with B list. So you're taking all the A list elements. Okay, and then you're extending it with the 2 B list elements. Then when you say B list dot extend this, whatever is there in this B list, which is 2009 Benelli, and to that you're adding your A list. Now this is A list. Now this is the new A list elements. All these will be added here. Don't think that the original A list will be extended, right? Because here, the most recent A list elements will be taken and added here. Okay, that's how it works. And then you're just listing down A list, comma B list. So you have A list, comma the list of this variable. Okay, next. You can also print the elements in the reverse sequence. This is pretty straightforward. And all you're doing is creating a variable and you're adding all these elements to it. And then you're printing a list. So whatever are the elements in this, they'll get printed here. Yeah, extend is like adding, Aditya, you're right. Okay. And then you're saying take those list of elements and print them in the reverse order or arrange them in the reverse order. And then you print these stars and print again the list of items. So what will happen here is the list of items, the list of elements in this variable, which are now in reverse order, would be printed. So let me run it. Both are the same. There are multiple ways of doing my different. Append, okay, appending and adding, just putting a plus, would do the same job. These are two different ways of performing the same operation. Okay, so see what's happening here. First, you're creating elements and adding it to a variable. Then you're saying print those elements. Then another print statement is issued, all stars, just to segregate these two lines. And you're printing the list of elements in reverse sequence, or you're arranging them in reverse sequence, and then you're printing that. So all these will be in the reverse sequence. So you see 3 to 4 comes here, ABC here, Tommy, XYZ, 1 to 3. Okay, here the last, see when you run this line and this line, outputs won't come onto the screen. Only after you perform this operation, if you call this variable and ask, now what are the elements in this, comma, what are the elements in B list, then it will print out what are the elements of your A list, comma, what are the elements of your B list. Right? Hope that answers your question, Sheikh. All right, let's move on further. Now, suppose you have list of numbers. You created a list of all the numbers. These stars is it, Alia? We are just using it to show that, you know, we want to segregate these two lines, just to ensure that the output is slightly better. If you have this immediately underneath that, if you have the second line of output, people might get confused. Just to segregate these two, we are using those stars. There's no other reason. Okay. Now you're creating a list of numbers and assigning it to an object or variable. Then you're saying dot sort. Dot sort, and when you're saying reverse equal to true, all these numbers will be sorted in the reverse order. And then whatever numbers after sorting would be in this variable, you want to print those results onto the screen. So now you have 99, 45, 33, and 8, which is in descending order. It is in descending order. If I don't give reverse equal to true, if I just open and close the brackets, it would sort the numbers in ascending order. First 8, then 33, then 45, then 99. The values will be printed in ascending order if I do not include this reverse equal to true. Okay. By default, reverse equal to false. Just remember that. So I'll show you here as well. So we are creating list of numbers. Okay, and then we are saying I mean, this is another way of sorting. Okay, this is not the only way out. You have another way of sorting also. So here, when you say sorted, and when you give this, and when you say reverse equal to false, it would, sort the numbers in ascending order, increasing order, and then you're storing that in another object or variable. And you're saying print what is part of this object or variable. So if I were to run it, there we go. Now, if I were to remove this, now this has printed 8, 33, 45, and 99 in ascending order. If I were to remove this, okay, and then if I were to run, what will be the answer? Okay, the answer is the same. What does that mean? By default, if you don't mention reverse equal to true or false, then it would take false as the default option. Okay, now friends, we will take a slight detour and I will show you today's quiz questions. There we go. You have all of these. Please practice this, friends, and then answer, but fastest finger first. Oops, already Farina has replied. Super fast, huh? So, but you should get the right answers correct. So please access this link and please make use of your comment section and keep responding and you'll get surprise Amazon coupon. All right. And please be active on LinkedIn, friends. When you apply for jobs, people are also checking whether you have an active LinkedIn profile or not. Just creating a LinkedIn profile won't work. You need to have an active LinkedIn profile. So keep sharing something interesting, etc. Keep sharing about the work that you're doing, the way you're enhancing your skills, all of that. All those things should be there. Okay. And please follow our page. You learn a lot of interesting stuff. Back to our discussion here. Okay. There is also a function called as count. Here you're creating a list of elements. Once again, you have a list of numbers and string values, all of those. And you're saying print this A list, or first look at the count of Zara in this A list and print that. So how many times do you think Zara appears? Once and twice. So the count will be 2 and you want to print the result onto the screen. So go to run it. There you go. You got 2. And here, friends, once again, you can either have single quotes or double quotes or triple quotes. Doesn't matter. And you're saying a list.index of Zara. When you say .index, you're saying that you want to know the index number, right? And after the first index number, it stops 0, 1, 2. Okay, that's how it works. If after the first index number, it stops. Next, concatenate two lists. If you take A list and B list, we created those somewhere here. And now you have this as your A list. And this as your B list. Now, all you're saying is combine those two, concatenate. If I were to run it, there we go. Okay, so A list now has all these values. And B list has certain other values, I think. Yeah, B list has, these numbers, my bad. These numbers, 8, 99, 45, and 3. The most recent elements of the variable would be picked up, friends. And you're just printing out the result. When you say what is the type of this, it says it's a list. List is nothing but collection of elements. Yeah, we'll share the attendance link in the next 10 minutes or so. 10, 15 minutes. Yeah. If you want help, you just need to type help of list and it will give you various things such as appending, clear, copy, count, extend, index, insert, pop, remove, and a brief one-line explanation on what it does. So there's a lot of help, a lot of literature available for Python. You can make best use of that. Then say you're creating this number list of numbers. When you say dot sort, it will sort all these numbers in the ascending order. And then when you print the number list, all these numbers in ascending order would be printed. You can also print the length of this number list. How many numbers are there? How many elements are there? Rather, not numbers, how many elements are there? Also, if you say print maximum of this, it is going to select the maximum element out of all these elements, which happens to be, I think, 87. So that will be printed on the screen. When you say print minimum, it will print the minimum number, which happens to be 1, the minimum element. And this length would be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Right, 13 should come up here. Okay, friends, whoever, okay, let me, because this question has come up yesterday also, let me tell you that. Whoever has given attendance, okay, we are going to give you learning management system access for 30 days. And you can download the Python code for your practice. And if there are any data sets that we are going to use moving forward, those data sets also can be downloaded from the learning management system. And you can also download the participation certificate. All right, these three can be downloaded. And within 30 days, you have to do that. After 30 days, we'll simply disable. Okay. Anyways, our team will contact you and guide you. Next, we are creating a list of elements which are all of type string. When you say sort this string, but these are not numbers. If these were numbers, sorted would have sorted these in ascending order. But here you're saying the key to sort is length. The key to sort these is length. So this has 1, 2, 3, 4, length of 4. This has E, F, G, length of 3. H, I, J, K is 1, 2, 3, 4, length is 4. LMN is 1, 2, 3. Okay. So out of all these things, the one which is alphabetically, which will come first in the alphabets, would get printed first. Like if you look at these two, one of these two should be printed first onto the screen, because you're saying key equal to length of that string. Okay. However, between these two, this would be printed first, because when you look at alphabets, characters, E comes first and then comes L. Okay. Then what gets printed? This. A, B, C, D. Because out of these two, okay, out of these two, in this A comes first. So this will be printed first. So let me run it and show you what happens. Yep, exactly the way we thought. That is exactly how the values are printed. Then you have A, B, C, D, then you have this. Okay. Next, you have again string of elements. And then what you're doing here is you're saying sort the string, but the key should be function one. I mean, you're writing your own function. One is make use of, I mean, here you're saying length. This is called as inbuilt function, meaning someone else has written and then you're trying to reuse that. That is inbuilt function. So some other programmer has written the code and made it public. We are simply trying to reuse the function, inbuilt function. Okay. Okay. Now, you can write your own function also if you want to perform some operation and say such an inbuilt function is not written until now by any of the programmers. Then what you need to do is you need to write your own function, which is called as user-defined function. User-defined function. In this user-defined function, you can write your own function in this way. And the syntax to write the function is exactly like this. You have to type def, that is define, space. The name that you write here is going to be your function name. I mean, this name you will try to reuse it. Whatever name you give here, you can give any name of your choice. But then you're going to reuse that. Of L. I mean, you can give again here X. If you give here X, here also you have to give X. If you give Y, here also you give Y. If you're giving L here, then here also the same L would be given. And then you end this with colon. When you click on enter, certain integrated development environments like Jupyter, etc., certain IDEs will automatically give a space like that, a tab delimiter, right? When you press tab key on your keyboard, it is not a single space, it is a series of multiple spaces. And then from there you need to write this, return. What do you want to return? You're saying return L of -1. -1 means what it does. Let me show you. So you understand the difference between inbuilt function and user-defined function. And this series of steps is called as, like one of our friend is saying, indentation. Okay, now If I were to run it, you'll have numbers in the sequence. Now, I need to explain what this -1 does. This -1 looks at the last element of each and every string value. The last will be -1. Here also the last alphabet or character will have -1. Here also the last will have -1. So this is G, this is having F, this is having D, and this is having I. When you look at the alphabets, what comes first? F comes first. Sorry, D comes first. A, B, C, D, right? So this gets printed first. Next, what comes? F. So here, this would get printed next. Because you want to sort it. You want to sort this string after applying this function. And what this function does is, it just does this, L of -1. That means it will go to each and every string, each and every element of this object called string, and it looks at the last character. Then you have G, that will come in here. Then you have I, that will come in here. Okay, this is how it gets printed. Okay, I've also seen another question that you guys were asking. Hey, what if you have numbers and string values in your list? And what if I then sort it? How would it sort? What will it do? Okay, that's something that we are going to probably try out tomorrow, but take some time out, you yourself practice and see what happens. Tomorrow, I would run it because we have another thing I need to complete this. Okay, tuples. In list, when you have list of items or list of elements, you can always change those. You can replace those. If elements are defined in a list, and if you're given an option to also change those at a later point of time, then that's called as mutability. Mutability means the hey, sorry, I'm not sure. There was a slight disconnect in the internet. Sorry about that. So all I'm saying is lists that you create is called as mutable. Mutable means you can replace the elements that you created. And tuples are immutable. Immutable means once you create, you cannot, append that. You cannot make changes to that, for example. And when you create list, you create list of elements using a square bracket. But within tuple, when you create a tuple is also like collection of items. You have the regular braces, regular brackets. And here you have defined elements, tuple 1 and tuple 2. You can give any name here, friends. The variable name or the object name can be anything, absolutely. That's up to you. And then you are saying print whatever is there in tuple 1 variable and print whatever is there in tuple 2. So go to run it. There we go. Tuple 1 and tuple 2 got printed. Then you can also create an empty tuple. You're saying tuple 1 and you're creating an empty tuple. And you're saying print. Obviously, there won't be anything in that, so nothing gets printed. You can also create a single tuple. Okay, and then you're saying tuple 1 equal to 50, and then print this. It's printing out the result. When you say type of this, it says that would be tuple. Okay, and if you have this tuple, and if you say print tuple 1 of 0, it would give you the first index number. Simple, it's similar to your list. This will have 1, this will have 2, and this will have 3. And you have tuple 2, wherein you have list of numbers. And you're saying go to this tuple 2 and print from 1 until 5. This will have index number 0, 1, index number 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. 1:5 means 1, 2, 3, 4. The last number won't appear. The last index number won't be there because that's how Python works. So 1 index number has this 2. Index number 2 is given here. The element associated with that is 3. This is the index number here. It goes into this. Then you have 4. It will go into this. These are the elements which are printed. Now you are creating two tuples. Tuple 1, 12, this. Tuple 2, ABC and XYZ. You're just creating two tuples. Okay. And when you say tuple 1 plus tuple 2, what do you think will happen? It's taking tuple 1 elements and appending tuple 2 elements to that. And you're printing out the results because you're storing those in tuple 1. Deleting tuple elements, here is where actually you need to get error. Because tuple is what? Immutable. If you're creating these tuple elements, for example, and if you want to print, fine, it will print the results. But if you say, okay, from this tuple, delete the first element. If you say so, it will throw an error. If you're wondering, hey, this should have been like this, you should have had the regular braces, that is why maybe we are getting an error, I'll rerun it. So what does it say? We cannot delete individual elements of tuple as it is immutable. Individual elements or items of tuple cannot be deleted. At the same time, can we delete the complete tuple? Sure, complete tuple can be deleted, friends. Okay, and you have deleted the complete tuple, and when you say print, what will be there in that tuple? Nothing. The tuple in itself you deleted. So when you say print, it says this TOP is not defined. So the tuple itself is not there now. So how does it print and what should it print? It doesn't really know. Okay. And when you say help of tuple, similar to help of list, you get a lot of help. Okay. You can just look at that count, index, and bunch of things exist. You can play around with that. So this marks the end of today's session. I have made a note of a few of your questions, and certainly we shall discuss those tomorrow. Thank you so much, and see you tomorrow at same time, and we'll take this discussion forward. Tomorrow would mark just 5 days completion. We'll have another 15 days. So just imagine to what extent we'll learn Python. But do practice, and please submit your responses on LinkedIn. And this is our page, 360 Digit MG. Please follow us. And we already have approximately 17,000 followers. And please follow and reap the benefits. And you know what? We also keep posting a lot of interesting things like MoviePy. And those kind of things will come up here, friends. Every Every day would be a learning for you, I can assure, at least every week. So please subscribe, ask your friends, relatives to subscribe or follow our page. Until then, thank you so much.